What's up, you guys? My name is Preston James, and you're listening to The Reflection, where we do just that for ourselves and our community so that we may lead a healthier, more positive, and productive lifestyle. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I appreciate you so much, tenfold. I really, really do. Thank you. Hopefully you got a chance to listen to my previous episode 15 on fear and self-doubt. Thought it was a great episode. I say that every time. I know I do. I say this every time, but I really do think that was one of my favorite episodes of the podcast so far. So if you haven't got a chance, please check that out. And as always, please reach out to me. Find me on Facebook at @TheReflection_PJ. The same title or same @ is for my YouTube, @TheReflection_PJ. Or reach out to me, shoot me an email with questions, concerns, thoughts, your journey. I would love to hear about your journey. Reach out to me Gmail, thereflection.pj@gmail.com. So hopefully you guys are all staying positive, staying well. I know it's a hard time right now. Inflation is crazy. Prices are crazy. Things are crazy, especially here in California. So I hope you are staying centered, staying focused, and driven. Hope you're staying driven, pursuing those goals, staying on that track to achieve your dreams. I know it's not easy, but I hope that you are, and I hope you can find a way to set some time aside every single day to pursue those goals and achieve that dream. I want to also apologize. My voice is a little raspy today. Everybody, well, no, not Vanessa, but my kids are sick. My son had to stay home last week, and my daughter was home today with me. So I apologize ahead of time. The sickness is going around. Same with at the school I work at. It's crazy. So today we are talking about finding your passion and or finding your purpose and how they're kind of commingled, right? They're kind of together on that. Have you ever wondered what your purpose is? Or asked yourself, what am I meant to do? Or maybe, just maybe, you said to yourself, what if I've chosen the wrong path? Or what if I choose the wrong path? Well, let me tell you this. You are definitely not alone in that. I've told you guys before, I talked about in my previous episode, that I have fear and doubt all the time. I think through it. I work through it. There's different ways to approach it and think about it and set it aside for another time or another day and do the same thing all over again. But you can't let it control you, right? That fear and that doubt. Can't let it control you. So you are definitely not alone in thinking that if you haven't found your passion or you don't feel like you have a purpose, you're not the only one. You have to do certain things, right? That's the whole reason for this episode. It's not like it's given to you when you're born, like a punch card. No. You have to find it through discovery, discovering new things, being creative, that creativity. And it's something you have to refine over time. You have to go out and get it. And through these going out and getting it, you will find your passion for things. The more things you do, the different things you do, the more you find out what you do and don't like, right? It's like crossing off things on a list. And it's just as well as you finding a bunch of things you don't like, because that's honing in on the things that you do like. Now, your purpose, which we'll talk about in a few, it's not necessarily given or you're not born with it necessarily, but maybe it is. I guess it really just depends on what you believe. Honestly, that really just depends on what you believe. But this episode, I really want to talk about why passion may feel so elusive. Why, and how some well-known individuals that I like to read and look up to have how they've dealt with it. I want to talk about some practical steps that you can take to find what truly excites you and may lead you to find your purpose. I know I always give you guys some tools to set you up on your path to find your dream job or the thing that you love to do, your passion. But I think that this episode, I'm going to give you some very practical ways to think about and things to do in real time to achieve that, to find that, to dig it out if it's not there yet. Some of you are just right there at the surface and you're just knocking right at the door, but you just haven't made that last step of effort towards what it could or may be. I guess the next question is, why is it so hard to find your passion sometimes? I was grateful and lucky enough that I knew I had that feeling when I was 7 years old with music. And as I got older, I realized I like to help people as well. I remember I was at the construction site. I graduated high school, was working for my girlfriend. At the time, her dad, I was staying at their house and I needed a job. So I decided to be a plumber for 2 years. As I was plumbing and working long hours, making a lot of money, great money, I realized, A, that's not the end all be all. And I wasn't happy. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to serve people. I like to help people. I like people to feel good about themselves. And thus, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to be a teacher. Started going back to school, college, went to community college first. Had to get my prerequisites up, my grades up so I can go to university, community college of Denver. Then I went to the University of Colorado. I got my bachelor's in history and then went to get my master's in education with the emphasis in special education. But, overall, most people just don't wake up one day with a clear vision of their passion or their purpose. The funny thing is, by the time you're in high school or even middle school, I think that's about the time, but for sure college, which is why I even brought that up. You have this external pressure, and I think this is all around the world as well. I really do. This external pressure, a lot from like family members and friends even, to have everything figured out. You're supposed to have everything figured out, especially by the time you're in college and you're moving forward, right? Why is that? Why do people expect you to know what you love to do and what you should do? I think that's why a lot of people get stuck, is because they feel that external pressure. My mom had mentioned this thing called the second force, that basically the idea is that it is that external pressure without, you even knowing what it is. You just feel that you need to do something to get something done because that's what you're supposed to do. Not necessarily because you want to, but because you're supposed to. And I don't know why we all get bogged down by that, but a lot of us do. And I think it stunts our growth. And I mean our metaphysical growth. I mean our spiritual growth, our mental and intellectual growth, and possibly physical growth too. I don't know. But why is that? Why do we feel that external pressure? I mean, one is that there's this thing called the one passion myth. Like everyone has one passion. That's not true. That's not true at all. Many people have multiple interests. I have multiple interests. I just told you two of them: music and helping people. Those are two right off the jump. I love movies as well. That's another passion. I like to talk about actors and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff and what they did in this film and how it relates to the other films and so on and so forth. Like people can have multiple passions. It's not just this one passion and that's it. That's the end all be all. No, there's multiple, right? Another thing is there's this myth that there's instant clarity. Like you should know that it just strikes, like passion strikes you and that's what it is. Like lightning, bam. We know this isn't true. It's discovered by having action, by doing action. Not just thinking about it, not sitting around thinking about it. So we don't know certain things yet because we haven't figured it out, right? It's the same ground principle with anything. And it's funny when people make fun of other people, especially kids, when they don't know something. When somebody doesn't know something, like, you didn't know? Well, you don't know something until you know something. Like, how is that even, right? But there it is again, that external pressure from the world and people, especially your circle of friends and people you're surrounded by. It's like you're supposed to know something, but if you don't know it yet, then, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I've always thought that was weird, and people don't even think twice about it. They don't think twice. But the more interaction with things and people you have, the more clear that passion or these passions will become. The more interactions with people, the more things that you do, like we talked about on, I know I talked about it with Memo 71, my producer guest. I know I talked about it on a couple other episodes, but just traveling the world, doing different things, trying different things, not having that fear, getting out of your comfort zone. Those types of things will help you have that clarity towards the things that you love to do, your purpose, your passions. I know I especially talked about it on my episode, Taking Chances, Risk Analysis. That's how you get out and get to know the world and yourself. Yourself, for sure. For sure. I don't know why I like doubling up on words sometimes. Vanessa makes fun of me for it, but I like doing it. I don't know why. We know this isn't true, right? We know that there isn't just this one instance of clarity, and we know that there's not this one chance for success. Like that success it becomes before everything, right? There's not just this one instance of success and that's it. It's the end all be all. I know that we see movie theaters. I know that we see actors in movies and we see artists and we think that they just kind of have this talent and this skill. But what you don't see is the thousands and thousands of hours put into that talent and that work and that skill. It's the thing behind the curtain, the man behind the curtain. But it's the things that you don't see. And that's hard for people to get behind because for most people, seeing is believing, which is interesting because a lot of people go to church and that's a whole different topic. But I'm just saying it's the same idea. Just like your faith, you don't necessarily have to see it, but you believe it. That's what you should put into your passion, your purpose. Put the work in and you will achieve. But we know this isn't true about success first. We know this isn't true, right? It's just the success right off the jump. Because as we just stated, passion comes through and with the discovering of new things. Some of that, I'm going to say that some of that has to start with curiosity, being curious about something, just searching it up. We've talked about that too. Search it up. Something you're interested in. Just start typing things. I was going to say start scrolling through Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and things like that, but that's a spiral. Unless you're specifically looking for something, that is a death spiral. So I don't really recommend that, although it does help as well because I've definitely gotten curiosity. I've definitely gotten curious off certain people's posts, and then that led me to YouTube or a reading, an article somewhere. I don't know. So there's that whole thing too. But Mark Twain said it well. He said, "Find your passion and you'll never work a day in your life." Well, he's accredited with saying that, but it's true. You find your passion and you'll never work a day in your life. Steve Jobs has a quote about that, about loving what you do, so you'll do great work. I just posted it actually a few days ago. But if you love what you do, you will create good work. This is all to say that your passion for something or multiple things isn't always obvious. It isn't. But you need to ask yourself what it is you need to start doing. What do you need to start doing? What is it that you need to start doing in order to discover what it is or what they are, your passions? What is it that you need to start doing right now to help yourself discover what those are? I want to say question things, like Socrates said, question things. But the question everything method, question everything. You do this to find out what actually matters to you. So using Socrates, this method of deduction, what actually matters to you helps you fine tune what it is that you like and don't like. Like he said, the unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined life is not worth living. Is it worth living? I don't think so. If you ask yourself these questions, or why is this? Why is that? Do I like this? Why don't I like this? Just question everything. You start to peel back the layers and really see what things are about. And it's hard for me to explain, but you'll have to start doing that. And I know that as I've asked my professor in college, I asked them, once I really got a hold of this inquisitive nature, I was like, how do I turn that off? And he said to me, you don't turn it off. And it's been stuck with me ever since. But for the greater good, sometimes I go down this rabbit hole and it's like, it's never ending. But for the most part, I would say I wouldn't change it. I really wouldn't. I'm going to be 100% wouldn't change it, because I like to question things in order to find my truth, the things that I like to do within what I'm already doing, if that makes sense. Okay, so one thing I want you to ask yourself with this questioning method of questioning is, what makes me or makes you lose track of time? What's something you do that makes you lose track of time? What do I get excited about? What do I get excited talking about? What kind of work would I do for free? Those 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. What makes me lose track of time? What do I get excited about or excited talking about? And what kind of work would I do for free? I told Vanessa I would mix for free all day. If I could, all day. Shit, I did for the first almost 8 to 10 years. Mixed for free. Did it every single day. Another example would be like, someone loves helping others, right? Somebody likes to help others. What would that look like in practical sense? Like, what would that look like? For me, it's teaching. Maybe it would be coaching or counseling, or me doing this podcast. Try to help other people find their passion and their purpose. Helping others have a positive spin on this crazy world we live in. Pursuing their dreams, me helping other people. So that's what that would look like. So you need to ask yourself those 3 questions. What makes me lose track of time? What do I get excited about, or what do I get excited talking about? And what kind of work would I do for free? By asking questions, the right questions, quote unquote, you'll start to see patterns. And my next guy, Aristotle. Love Aristotle, right? After Socrates, but Aristotle, another great thinker. But he says more often than not, we tend to overthink things, especially in this area of our lives where we are trying to choose what the best thing is for us, like a job, a career, the thing we want to do for the rest of our lives and what we could die doing. It's hard for us to choose. But believe me, I am no exception at all. I'm trying to figure this out just as everybody else is. I'm 1,000% with Aristotle on this one. We must learn by doing. It's funny because a lot of us will sit around waiting for things to happen, or we'll wait for inspiration to strike us. But the truth is, you have to go out and find it. And more often than not, especially with passion and purpose, you find it by trying these new things. I keep repeating that, but people expect things to just happen or inspiration to strike, like I said before, like lightning. For instance, photography. If you think you might like photography, or if you would love taking pictures, then go out and take some pictures. Don't just read about it. Pick up a camera and start shooting. Our passions grow through action. If you're feeling bold and curious, or just bored, make a list. Make a list of 5 things you're curious about. Make a list. Make a list of 5 things you're curious about, and commit to trying each one for the next week. See what happens. See what happens in that week. You have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing. So instead of watching your show or just sitting and scrolling on your phone, make a list of 5 things that you're just curious about. Doesn't have to be like, you don't have to think too much about it. Just like, what am I interested in? What do I want to learn more about? I've always wanted to see kind of the difference between like abstract art and realism. I don't know, just different things. Just write it down. Write it down. And then take a little, a short dive into it and see what happens. You might surprise yourself. You never know. But you got to start somewhere. Another great thinker, my man Nietzsche. He believed that true passion often involves struggle. He says it's what you're willing to work for. I think a lot of us kind of see it this way, especially when we hear people who are highly successful talk about the struggle, that you have to struggle before you can make it. Plus, there's an article I just saw. I want to read it. I think it's in Atlantic, but it basically talks about that's what draws us in. We want to struggle. We want the difficulty, because it makes the success that much sweeter. So does it always have to be as difficult as we make it? Probably not. But the success is just that much sweeter. I think a lot of you can attest to that, especially when you work for like a soccer game, a football game, a fight, an MMA fight. I know I felt that way with kickboxing. But it's like the same thing with like a musician who practices for hours every single day, a writer who pushes through rejection, who gets rejected but just keeps pushing through and getting rejected, like J.K. Rowling. Or an entrepreneur who keeps going despite the setbacks. These are just some examples. You got to ask yourself, what is something you are willing to struggle for? 3 questions I asked earlier, the 5 things to write down that you're curious about. And here's another one. What is something you are willing to struggle for? That it doesn't bother you day in and day out. You struggle for it. Maybe try this. Okay, I have an idea, okay? Write down every single job you've ever had. And even if you've only had 2 jobs, just write them down. Just write it down. Don't just think about it, just write it down. Write it down and ask yourself, are there any connections between these jobs? And I say this because maybe, just maybe, that you've already been upon your path of your passions. And maybe you just, for instance, I won't work with food. I worked with food once when I was 15. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I worked at a pizza place for my friends. Dad. My first job, I got tip money. It was great. It was awesome. I don't ever want to work with food again. That's something I found out real quick, but I would have never known that unless I did that job. So I say this because if you write down the jobs that you've had, that you've actually sought out and you wanted to work at, why did you want to work at those places over other places? For me, like I said, it's because I didn't want to work with food. I wanted to work with interacting with people. I worked at Office Max. I worked at a U.S. Constructive Toy Playthings. Like I said, I worked at a pizza place. I did construction. I worked at a high rise. I worked at 24-hour fitness at the front desk. But all these jobs except for plumbing. But I was interacting all day with plumbing as well. I was still talking with people. And subconsciously, I realized that I wanted to help people be better, be a better version of themselves, grow up to be the person or the people that they want to be, help them or give them the tools, like my students, give them the tools to navigate the world a little bit better so that they can find their passion and their purpose, or that they can be successful in their own way. And when I say successful, I don't necessarily mean money. But I mean being happy and doing the thing that you want to do over the thing that you have to do. But again, all of this takes action. You need to take action. You need to pick something up, write something down, and give it a shot. See if there's a connection. Peel back those layers, people. Peel them back. So, how can you use all this information and apply it to your life? 1, I would say, follow your curiosity. Follow your curiosity, people. Passion often begins with curiosity. This curiosity, what skills, topics, or activities are you naturally drawn towards? What skills, topics, or activities are you naturally drawn towards? Ask yourself. Start exploring those things in more detail, in more depth. Another thing I would say is experiment and take action. Take chances, take risks. Do exactly that. Try new things, new hobbies. Take an online course, volunteer somewhere. I don't know. It's about doing, not thinking. It's about doing. And pay attention to what excites you. Pay attention to what excites you. Again, what would you do for free? What could you talk about days on end without shutting up about? What gets you excited? What makes you lose track of time? Pay attention to what excites you with things. Do you get excited about doing something or talking about something? Then you're on the path to finding out what it is that you love to do. Another thing is embrace the struggle. Like Nietzsche said, embrace that struggle. It's what you're willing to work for that will matter. What are you willing to work for? But if you struggle and still, or I should say, if you struggle and still just can't get enough of that thing, you're onto something. I struggle all the time with production and music and mixing, but I know I'm onto something. I struggle, but I go day in and day out. Back to it. Let me try to get this kick drum. Let me try to make this sound a certain way. Let me just fine tune this bass. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me get that vocal. I know where that vocal is going to sit. I know how I want it to sound. I'm on this never-ending chase of something that I love to do, and it never gets old. Never. Got to take breaks, of course, but it never gets old. And finally, as the podcast suggests, or the name suggests, have reflection. Do reflection. Reflect. Reflect on the things that have excited you or have drawn you in, that have kept you engaged and have kept your attention. Sometimes our passion has been with us all along. We just haven't taken the time to kind of hone in on it, to really sit down and look at it. Just sometimes. It's been with us. It has. And that's okay. Because now you have heard different ways to look at it, different approaches, a different thought process, which hopefully will influence you. It'll spark that curiosity. It'll spark that interest. And you'll be like, what have I been doing? And that's okay. Now moving forward, there's no time like the present. Am I right? So in conclusion, I really do hope you find what you're looking for. I'm here to help. Always, please reach out to me, thereflection.pj@gmail.com, or on Instagram, thereflection_PJ, as well as the same thing on YouTube, thereflection_PJ. I want to help you guys find your passion, your purpose, and help in any way that I can. So hopefully this podcast has helped you point you in a different direction, maybe in a direction you weren't sure was even a thing, or put this in a perspective that helps you see things in a better way, in a different way. I hope that makes sense. But I'm here to help. Love you guys. Thank you as always for tuning in. And we got some good episodes coming up next. We got a guest or two and some good topics. So please stay tuned, and I hope you guys have an amazing week. All right, love you guys. Be safe. Talk to you soon.